There are times when life feels like it's slipping through your hands. No matter how much you plan, how hard you work, how disciplined you try to be, everything feels uncertain. You wake up with tension, you go to sleep with questions, and in between you're pulled in every direction by things you can't fully control. The Stoics knew this feeling. They lived through war, exile, death, and betrayal. And yet, they stayed grounded. Not because life made sense, but because their minds did. When the world outside you feels chaotic, the answer isn't to fight the storm. It's to build stillness within. That's where these 6 Stoic truths come in. Not motivational fluff, not empty positivity. Just timeless reminders designed to bring your mind back to clarity when everything else is noise. You won't find comfort in control, because control is a myth. But you will find power in acceptance, focus, presence, in the simple discipline of remembering what's real and what isn't, what's yours and what never was. These truths aren't just ideas, they're anchors. And when repeated daily, they become armor. Quiet, invisible, unshakable. The first Stoic truth: you don't control what happens. You only control how you respond. That sounds simple, until life throws something at you that breaks your rhythm. A betrayal, a loss, a shift you didn't see coming. Your first reaction might be to ask, why me? But the Stoic asks a different question. What now? Because pain is guaranteed. Chaos is inevitable. But suffering, that's optional. And the space between the event and your reaction, that's where your power lives. The second truth: everything external is temporary. Money, status, relationships, comfort, they're all outside of you and all subject to change. The Stoic doesn't depend on them for identity or peace. He enjoys them if they come. He lets go if they leave. Because he's not anchored to the surface. He's rooted in depth, in virtue, in the mindset that says, I am not what I own. I am not what happens to me. I am what I choose to become, no matter what. This mindset doesn't make you cold. It makes you calm. When you stop expecting permanence from impermanent things, you stop panicking when they shift. You stop chasing guarantees and start creating stability from the inside out. That's where the Stoic finds peace, not in avoiding storms, but in becoming unmoved by them. The third Stoic truth: most things are not personal. People will lie. People will leave. People will disappoint you, not because of who you are, but because of where they are in their own lives. The Stoic doesn't internalize every offense. He doesn't waste his energy asking, why did they do this to me? Instead, he steps back and says, this is human nature. And then he decides what he'll do with that information. The fourth truth: what you consume shapes your mind. The thoughts you repeat, the people you listen to, the things you scroll past every day, all of it is training your brain. So the Stoic protects his attention like a warrior guards his weapon. He doesn't let random noise enter his inner world. He filters it, controls it, sharpens it, because a focused mind can endure what a scattered one cannot. Most people feed their anxiety daily and wonder why they can't sleep. But the Stoic feeds clarity. He repeats these truths, not once but every day, because the world repeats lies every minute. And repetition isn't weakness, it's reinforcement. If this speaks to you, subscribe now and hit the bell. Because real strength isn't about knowing everything. It's about remembering the right things every day. Are you repeating thoughts that build you or beliefs that break you? The fifth Stoic truth: peace comes from within, not from outcomes. If your sense of calm depends on everything going your way, you will never know peace. Because life will never align perfectly with your expectations. The Stoic detaches from results, not because he doesn't care, but because he refuses to let outcomes control his emotional state. He shows up, he does the work, he accepts whatever comes. This is not defeat, this is discipline. He doesn't celebrate based on what happens. He celebrates based on how he handled it. That's how you win every day, even when nothing goes your way. Because your power doesn't lie in prediction. It lies in preparation. You train your mind to respond with intention, not impulse. You train your heart to stay open, but not dependent. That's how you keep your center, even when the ground moves beneath you. And the sixth truth, your mind is your home. You live there more than anywhere else. If that space is chaotic, nothing outside of you can fix it. The Stoic cleans the inner room before decorating the outer world. He journals, he reflects, he questions his own thoughts. He protects that mental environment with the same care others give to wealth or image. Because when the mind is stable, the world can shake, and you won't. These 6 truths are not just ideas, they're anchors. You don't memorize them once and move on. You return to them daily. You repeat them not because you forget them, but because the world is constantly trying to replace them. Replace them with noise, with fear, with opinions. But the Stoic knows that consistency is strength. What you rehearse in calm, you'll remember in chaos. Repetition becomes armor. You wake up with clarity. You face stress with perspective. You respond to failure with poise. These aren't reactions. They're habits. Habits built by returning to the same mental ground every day until it becomes the foundation you stand on. And when that foundation is strong, the world stops shaking you so easily. The man who revisits truth daily doesn't need hype. He doesn't need external validation. His mind is trained. And because it's trained, it stays still, even when nothing else does. That stillness is rare. It's misunderstood. But it's also powerful, because when life gets loud, the one who remains calm wins. You don't need more motivation. You need reminders. Daily, deliberate, disciplined reminders of what matters and what doesn't. You will face days when your thoughts spiral, when life feels too heavy to carry, when nothing around you makes sense. On those days, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be strong. You need to be still. You need to remember what is yours to control and what isn't. That's where the Stoic lives, not above the chaos, but within it, untouched, unshaken. These 6 truths aren't about escaping life's pain. They're about meeting it with something deeper, something built, something trained. And in a world that wants to keep you reactive, emotional, and distracted, stillness is rebellion. Discipline is rebellion. Remembering who you are and what you stand for when the noise is loud, that's your edge. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to control the world. You just have to come back to what's true, over and over again. That's where peace is. Not in what changes, but in what stays. In what you choose to repeat. If your mind is the only place you'll live for the rest of your life, what are you doing to make it a place worth living in?